As an evolutionary ecologist, one can never know too much about a species' sex life. How successful an individual is at mating and producing offspring is what we call reproductive fitness. When we look at traits and see how they influence reproductive fitness, we can understand why these traits have evolved. Up to 80% of flowering plants are capable of a trait called clonal growth. This is when an individual plant grows larger by producing multiple genetically identical shoots. For example, in the top part of this figure, I showed 2 clones made up of 3 shoots each, with a single clone being considered a single individual. Now, for an immobile plant, encountering one another in order to mate can be a bit of a challenge. And so flowering plants have included a third player in their mating events, the pollinators. They bring pollen from male flowers to female flowers to produce seed, the plant's offspring. But this comes with a catch. Most flowering plants are hermaphrodites, meaning they have both male and female sexy bits. This can complicate mating. When pollen is transferred between a male and female flower on the same individual, this results in what we call selfing. This selfing produces an inbred seed that does not contribute to a parent plant's fitness because it usually does not survive. Current theory predicts that as clone size increases, so should the selfing rate. This is because pollen is most likely transferred between neighboring shoots. And when you're an isolated clone, your closest neighbor is often yourself. But if mating interference is introduced by this clonality, then why do so many plants do it? Maybe clones aren't isolated. Maybe instead they're intermingled. Now, shoots are closer to those of other clones, and successful mating is facilitated. My study determined which spatial structure occurs in nature and how this affects selfing. I found that clones are largely intermingled, and as clone size increased, selfing rate actually decreased. This is the first evidence showing that perhaps clonality does not introduce mating interference. Perhaps instead, it can facilitate mating. Thank you.